Okay, so we're going to be talking about encounters with extraterrestrial life or intelligent life from elsewhere. Now, I've had quite a few experiences that were very validating to some extent, but I'm going to give you the story of how I actually started and how everything actually transpired. This is the third time I'm trying to make this video. Some strange stuff just keeps happening whenever I'm trying to record this kind of a story. But anyway, let's get into it. So, back in 2012 or maybe before that, I can't remember the exact time, but I was very young. I don't remember the age or so, but I was very, very young. I was not even in my teens. And I did not have access to the internet at that time. There's only one family member that actually had access to the internet, so it was very nice going and actually taking a visit there because, like, wow, the internet, and it was sort of like new. And YouTube was not something like what it is today. YouTube was back then it was just a normal video sharing thing. So there was this video that was on my cousin's house. So it was a video on her computer, and she had one of those fat, those old fat computers with the monitors and stuff. And I saw this video that she told me to come watch because it was actually like an alien prank kind of a video. So we sat through it. I didn't know what the hell an alien was, and I just watched the whole thing. And as I was watching it, all of a sudden, this alien that's in the room, there's two guys that were filming in the camera. They open the door and they show there, and then on the bed when the guy's lying down, there's an alien that's standing next to him. And when they hold the camera and they move it towards the alien like turns ahead and look directly at the camera, and then they run and they freak out and they open the door again. And this time when they open the door, the alien just pops his head out. So it was really, really terrifying because, like, as a child, that is something that is crazy. So that was the first time I was actually exposed to something called an alien. That was through a YouTube video, and from then it intrigued me a lot from that age, as to, does something like this exist? Because when you're a child, you believe everything. You believe in ghosts, you believe in aliens, you believe in all this kinds of weird stuff. But I had this inner desire to say, like, this longing to know about extraterrestrial beings. And when I was in like high school, I used to talk about this. I used to talk about extraterrestrial beings and, like, aliens do exist, because at that time I was sort of influenced by these other people that came out from there's one guy by the name of Bob Lazar. Everyone knows Bob Lazar if you around the UFO kind of community. Bob Lazar, he had his stuff released out, and he was the scientist that back engineered these extraterrestrial vehicles and whole not and whatever. And there's this other guy called Dr. Stephen Greer. So Dr. Stephen Greer and Bob Lazar, they were something that was very, very, like, very eye catching, for me, very eye catching. And there's also this McPherson's tape, which I watched, which was, although now it's fake. I checked on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Google. I did a quick Google search to check if the McPherson's tape was really a fake thing or not, and it is. Now there's a lot of ways how they can do misinformation and all that stuff, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So I used to have a lot of strange experiences where I see spirits growing up. I used to see, like, shadow beings and stuff, and I used to see these things at the corner of my eye. It was never where I could see them directly, like directly. Like, I'll walk past the room, and then all of a sudden it'll be like a shadow, like a shadow man kind of thing, just like move past. Or one day I was sitting in my lounge, and I looked out the kitchen window and I saw, like, an alien being, like the formation of an alien being outside, like just walking like that. So I used to see a lot of very strange things growing up. And my mom used to watch a lot of horror movies on television and stuff. So I always thought, it might be the psychological aspect that, because of being exposed to this this negative side of all of these things. It sort of plays in your mind, and your mind sort of like creates this, right? So, and at that point, I used to always discard it. Although I was very intrigued, and I did have a belief inside that these things they must exist, right? Because I used to hear other people talk about these things, and what was strange was they had similar experiences, and these are not like people that I am asking them. They'll just speak about things, or I'll watch a video where somebody's talking about something, and in that video, somebody will have an experience, and it will be something what I had, you know. So now I've never experienced anything negative. I'm gonna put that out there. I never experienced anything negative with these extraterrestrial beings. I have experienced a lot of negative things with, if you want to call it spirits or whatnot, or those type of forces. I have experienced a lot of negative things with that, and over the years, it's taught me like how to protect myself from all of these influences. But nevertheless, these things were they were scary. I'm not gonna lie, they were very scary growing up, and no one else around me used to see these things. And later on, I found out that if you're psychic and you're intuitive, these people they have these specific gifts. They can see beyond the physical. They can see the afterlife and all this kinds of weird stuff. And I wasn't really too interested in all of these things because they were scary. I didn't want to deal with those things, and I was not ready to see all these stuff. And but I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to find out the truth. So Dr. Stephen Greer, you can do this meditation. It's called the Ce5 protocol. Now, the Ce5 protocol is something called a human-initiated protocol. It's when you use sort of consciousness and meditation to communicate as a tool, because with consciousness, there's no time, right? And so the misconception that people have with extraterrestrial life forms, you see, on a conscious level, when you experience your being with what you are, which is everything, right? There's no form, there's no duality. So what they are it's you. It's just that you are just wearing a different costume. That's literally what it is, right? So these beings are same like you. There's no difference. And around just before COVID, like about a year back, I hear this humming noise. Very, very strange. And I still wonder, what the hell is this humming noise? Because I'm in a part of the world where this is not a common thing. Like you hear about things like this in America and all that stuff, right? All this weird stuff happening with extraterrestrials and stuff. I hear this humming noise. And I couldn't point where this humming noise was coming from. It was very strange, and it used to come like every day, and it only used to happen at night. I think a few times it happened during the day. But it's like a very low pitch vibrational frequency. So I used to hear this quite a lot, right? And it was very frequent. So what I did was, I asked my mother and stuff whether they could hear it. They couldn't really hear it. So I tried to record this noise that I was hearing, and I did record it, but the recording was not what I heard. It was like a different vibrational tune, to say. It had a different sound effect. I think I might still have the recording of that. And so what actually happened was, I think about a month later or 2 months later, I didn't search for this, right, on YouTube or anything. I didn't even know what it was. I just heard this noise. And I didn't call it the hum at that time. You must understand, I didn't call it the hum, right? I just knew it was a noise. I was like, what is this noise? Like about a month later or 2 months later, I see a video pop up on YouTube, right? And on the thumbnail, it had the sky, and on the sky it had this like vibrational waves, these wave patterns, and it was written the hum. And then when I looked at that, I was like, oh my god, let me just watch this if this is the same thing what I've been experiencing, because there's people all around the world that have been experiencing this thing called the hum, this phenomenon. And the government has a way of covering all this stuff up with their whatever scientific explanations, which is backed up by, God knows what. Anyway, so I watched it and I was like, okay, it confirmed. There was like research done about this stuff, so it confirmed this kind of phenomenon that was happening, but it had nothing to do with extraterrestrials, right? So, but it was strange, and something like I had this thought, like, well, what if it's extraterrestrial vehicles that are flying around? I just had this thought. So back when COVID hit, thank God for COVID, because if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have really went onto a spiritual path, to say. I would have not found spirituality. I would not taken it seriously. I did find spirituality, right? I found it back in 2015. Like I started to like get introduced to it a little bit more deeper. I started going a little bit more deeper in from then. But just around COVID was like the perfect time, because that time I was doing my exams. It was my third year final exams, and I was not really interested in that part of it, of the exams. And then COVID came about, and it was like, I got more time to study, and all this time I wanted to, find out about whether extraterrestrials exist. And Dr. Stephen Greer is talking about the Ce5 protocol. And at that time, there was like a real hype. Like, I have to know. I want to try this thing and just find out. I just don't want to listen to all the bullshit on the internet about it. I don't want to listen to all the nonsense what people saying and the belief stuff. I want to find out the truth for myself. I want to experience it, if it's real or not. So I want to put an end to the question of me trying to find out, because I don't want to spend my whole life trying to find out if extraterrestrials exist and expect the government to say something or put something on TV and, put something in the news. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Now is the perfect time. I don't worry about my studying so much. Let's do it. So I was scared a bit, in case what if it's real or some wild animal attacks me while I'm outside. So I took my grandmother outside with me. So it's just her and me. And she wasn't part of the meditation. She was just sitting there as a god while I'm doing this meditation. Because normally the meditation, you sit in a group of circle with the people and you interact with them and you do certain things, you hold hands and all this weird stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't need to do all this stuff. I'll just sit and do this meditation and see what happens. And that day, I think it was in March 2020, March. That day I understood the power of meditation. If it wasn't for that day, I would have not understood the power of meditation. I would have not understood consciousness, spirituality. I would have not seen the value of what meditation can do. You see? What meditation can do. So I did have results where these extraterrestrials did show themselves in their craft, not in like the physical, you know what I mean, like in person. I want that. Right? I want that kind of proof. Then I know, okay, maybe this thing is real. Even then I'll still question it, because I'm that type of individual. I like to I like to try it out again and again and again. I take a very scientific approach towards finding truth about things. I like to experiment it and stuff. And even if I've done it so many times, someone else must do it as well. And if they do the same thing and it works, then okay, maybe this is real. I would think like that. So at that point in my life, right, I have never seen a shooting star. I've never seen a shooting star. I've seen it in movies, which were Disney movies, and I've never ever typed on YouTube what does a video about shooting star, because I've never seen it in my life up till that point. So when we saw this, right, it was fascinating, but I wasn't convinced. I needed something more. I realized the power of meditation. If this thing is real, it's possible, because when you do this meditation, you telepathically, with the mind, direct this intelligent life to where you are specifically on the planet. You show them like a navigator, like you're a GPS navigator. You come here, we're in this solar system, with this planet in this with the third planet in the solar system, and on this planet there's a continent, and in this continent I am located here, and at the specific part I am here, sitting here, and this is what my outside surroundings look like. So I thought that, maybe it's real. And my grandmother, who has an eyesight problem, right, all of a sudden can see clearly. This if you want to call it a shooting star, because at that time I was like, maybe it's a shooting star, but when I came up with the meditation, I was like, holy shit, it worked. Because for me it was like I couldn't understand, like, how. And my grandmother could see clearly. She had an eyesight problem. She could see clearly. And I called my mother outside, and she as well also saw the same thing. But we didn't see one, we saw two. First we saw one, and then it was like, oh my god, there's another one. So it was a bit strange. Could be two, could be shooting stars, at that point. So I went on Google and I looked at shooting star videos, and I searched shooting stars and all that stuff. And they kind of looked similar, but what I've experienced was very different. It was very, very different. So it was not 100% like a shooting star, because I looked at the movement and stuff. This was a bit off from the shooting star. So after that day, literally every day, I'm mixing up the story. So after that day, I looked at the sky to see if there's anything that's there. And I'll get to that part just now. It's a more exciting part. I just want to fill in all this other stuff, because I'm jumping too much to the future of the story. So I realized the power of meditation. We'll go back to that story. I realized the power of meditation. Every day I started doing a practice. As one of the spiritual organizations of very, very popular on YouTube. I won't mention it, but very, very popular. And it's a very simple practice. So I used to do that every day. And I started having spiritual experiences. Because now I realize the power. It was not about extraterrestrials existing. Because I realized, okay, this is the power of meditation. And if you want to say, that's why they showed themselves in a way, so that I could see the power of meditation and value of it. And then I tried to do this experiment again, because you don't do something once and that's about it. You do it again. And I did it again, but this time I did it when it was cloudy. So I wasn't able to see much. It was just myself, my mother, and my dad. So we sat outside and we did it. We're just hoping something happens. But I was like, I told my mother, don't hold my hand and all that stuff. You just do the meditation. Just don't touch me. But she still touched me while I was doing the meditation. She put a hand on my hand while it was like that on my palms. My palms were on my knees. So it disturbed my meditation. But we didn't experience anything that day because obviously it was cloudy, and what can you see in the clouds when there's clouds everywhere? And it was at night. So we did all these meditations at night. So I said, okay, let's do it again. This was, I think, like about a month after or something like that. My dad used to work, used to travel a lot and work. So most of the time he was not really at home around that time. So the time when he actually came back, I was like, okay, let's do this meditation, because I've had experiences with my grandmother and she's seen all these things, and my mother's seen as well. Let's do this meditation. And then that day we sat outside. So he sat across me and I sat across him, and we did the meditation. And then this time, right, you guys do the math, right? We saw, you can call it shooting stars if you want to, but we saw two of these crafts, right, in the sky. Remember, there's two of us doing a meditation. We saw two of them. They came like this, and they crossed like that, like perfect cross, perfect, and it was right above us. It was not like far away out there. It was like literally above our heads. And my dad was like fascinated, right? Because it's the first time he's seen something like this, right? And what actually happened was, every day, and this is the exciting part, literally every day, and I mean every day, we didn't even have to do the meditation. We would see activity in the sky like it was, I don't know, like a freaking light show. Literally every day. And specifically the activity that used to happen in the sky was when I used to do my meditation. But not this type of meditation to contact these beings, but just my normal meditation that I used to do every day. Around that specific time when I used to do that meditation, my normal meditation, we should have a lot of activity happening in the sky. Now this is where it gets a bit more strange, when I had a little bit more personal encounters with these beings. Now they're not like a Hollywood kind of representation. So I used to experience something very strange on my back. So my back, like I'm talking about, like here, right? So say this is my back, right? This is my back, right? And I used to experience this very often, where there's like a hand on my back. I can feel like a hand on my back, right? And I never spoke of this. I never spoke of this. Never. To no one. I just shut my mouth about it. And it was on this specific side here. Yeah, right here. On my right hand side. I can feel it like now. Like very strange because I'm talking about it. But anyway, they want me to give the message. So my dad one day just randomly he tells me, I can feel like there's a hand on my back. And then I was like, oh shit. this, what's actually happening, is not something that I'm making up, because he's also experiencing the same thing. So it's like sort of like an initiation kind of process, because when you do the meditation, you sort of becoming part of this intergalactic federation kind of thing, where you can help the consciousness and stuff. So you're part of that movement. So that's part of that's a one element that's in Stephen Greer's meditation, the Ce5 protocol. And then I told him the same thing. I was like, oh, I've also experienced like a hand on my back here. And there's a lady by the name of Elizabeth April on YouTube. She's like a psychic and she can channel things and stuff. So I related a lot of stuff with her when I watched her videos, but this was very late on in life. And yeah, so I used to feel that hand on my back, and then every day, it's like where I am right now, it was like a freaking hotspot for UFO activity. And we saw flashes of green. We saw the last one I was trying to record it. I was trying to record it on camera. And this wasn't me doing meditation. Like, I'll go outside, like now, because my consciousness has expanded so much. Like, if I go outside and if I look up in the sky and I ask for like a sign or something like that, they do show up. They have a very, very strong influence in this world in terms of the spiritual growth, because humanity is moving towards a very destructive and damaging way. So they're playing a very, very important role in this consciousness movement. And although I've had so much of experiences, there's more experiences that I've had, but those were the ones that I'm only talking about. But I've had more other mystical type of experiences. But this thing is called the Ce5 protocol. Is very powerful if you know how to use it. Now, I know Dr. Stephen Greer, he's got an app and stuff of the Ce5 protocol. If this video gets some form of, if it gets a lot of views or something like that, where it's actually seen, I will walk you through. I'll create another video, an updated video, where I will walk you through the process of how I have done the Ce5 protocol, the step-by-step one, because the one way Dr. Stephen Greer talks about it and how he does it is very, very different. I've done it in a different way, but the specific elements which I've done works. It works, like, because I've taught it to my dad, and then he just caught on, and he was able to actually have the same experience. And the last sighting, I honestly tried to record it in the camera, and then what actually happened was, on my camera, when I clicked the record button, it was actually the camera, and it flashed, and the moment it flashed, what we saw flashed green and just disappeared. So I wasn't able to capture. I captured like 3 seconds of it or something like that. I'm not sure if it's still on my phone or what, but I captured like a very small time of it. What is very strange afterwards, which I got on film, is I get like a very strange looking, odd type of police vehicle that drives on the road. Very, very strange. And like all this stuff happened at that specific time, so it was very strange. I don't know, but I tried to do this video many times and it just doesn't work. And like the first 2 times I was actually trying to do this video, there were kind of like spooky things that were happening around me. Like while I'm shooting this video, there were like two things that I saw in the corner of my eye, but I just ignored it because I just want to focus on, just creating this video and being done with it, because this has been something that has been sort of sitting on my chest to get off for a long time. And I would like to do this Ce5 meditation, but you see, the extraterrestrial civilization which I contact, right? They're very peaceful. They're very like what to say, like agricultural type of peaceful beings. Because in my meditation, I see like images of what these beings look like, and they're very peaceful. They're willing to assist in terms of expanding of consciousness. But I'd like to do this, like I said, the next time if I do this, I'm going to do this with a large group of people so that it's worth it. But because I actually want them to actually come down. So because you see, when you see things in the sky, right, it can be anything. Like you can, as I said, you can rule it off as shooting star. You can rule it off as just something, whatever your mind can create about it. But when you actually have the visual, the experience of these beings in front of you, face to face, then it makes a difference. You see? So this is sort of like an attempt to make the contact experience with these beings, because they will come down, or they will introduce themselves to the world, but when they do it, no one knows when. It would be nice to be part of the initiation of human contact with extraterrestrial life forms in a very conscious, aware perspective, because they have sort of had a very strong and very powerful impact on myself on the spiritual path. And this is what you can say the government or whatever is sort of against, this type of one becoming free, realizing who they are, realizing the power that they have within themselves. This is a conscious shift, because you see, after they had World War One and World War Two, every country right now has access to nuclear weapons. And it just takes one person to destroy the whole world. Oppenheimer, he said, you know what he said. So, and if you notice, from after World War II, there's been, and this is evident in history so far, there's been an enormous amount of spiritual leaders like Yogananda, Swami Vivekananda. There's been a lot of these powerful people that have walked, J.D. Krishnamurti, a lot of them. So these people have sort of manifested after this type of events, because this is what is needed in this world. This type of conscious awareness It's not about the existence of extraterrestrials and all this stuff. It's about consciousness, which you are, and how to access that consciousness which you are.